We're all mimes in some way or form, acting out our passions, beliefs, or dreams, basically who we are, and all without words, whether we realize it or not. On this podcast, I speak with a few good folks who have an idea of what their particular mime is and talk about it here with me on Meet the Mimes. I'm your host, Zeno T, and thanks for listening. Hello to all, and to all, hello. This is me with my friend, Kara.
Hello.
So, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, glad to have you here. This is actually, the third recording in person that I've had with people I know and friends. So I'm really excited to be able to talk with you about what you're about right now with your businesses and speaking of which, this is Meet the Mimes, right? So What's your mime, Kara?
Well, I feel like my mime is basically to help the music industry in preserving our heritage in this area.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to build and work toward that now, and actually have had some things come my way, and I'm going to be picking up some things in the near future, and I'm really excited about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I know that you had mentioned that you have a artist development. Is it artist development?
It is. We'll be doing some artist development. We'll also be doing some social media promotions and acting as a booking agent for not only the Shoals area, but also in Nashville and Huntsville as well. And eventually hoping to pick up some Memphis area and some Atlanta area.
Nice. Yeah. That sounds like
a
lot of work.
I've got big dreams.
Yeah. Really awesome dreams. Sounds like a lot of work. I mean, is it pretty...
it will be a lot of work. Yeah. It's going to be tough, and it's going to be a learning curve for me because, unlike you, I'm not really in the music industry so much. I'm a fan, but so there's a lot of learning. I actually received a scholarship from the Institute of Clive Davis in recorded music that I'm actually going through right now. I'm just on the second unit of it. And I'm totally learning everything from scratch. So
is there something going on here in the Shoals for the people that aren't from this area? Mm-hmm. Florence, Muscle Shoals area, Tuscumbia, Sheffield. Is there something that's going on, I guess, in the music industry that is causing a concern on your part?
It is. It's not only my concern. I think it's a concern with a lot of people in the industry and trying to go about and find a way to keep our heritage alive. We've had a lot of, the originals, like the Swampers, they're starting to get older, and some of them are passing away, and we're trying to get the younger generation mentored so that they can step up. And I think that right now, with the COVID situation, it's been one of those things where everybody can get on the same level, so nobody's really ahead of anybody. Mm-hmm. And I think that while the industry is trying to figure out what they need to do to revamp music in the industry and, to help like you artists to make money, I think that right now is go time for anybody that has great ideas, and it gets everybody on a level playing field.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking about what you were saying. It's go time right now. I think that's what you said. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how COVID is putting a lot of people in positions where I was just talking with a friend of mine. And we were discussing the fact that COVID has given opportunity for me particularly to I guess self-assess.
Yes.
Look at myself and where I'm going. Is that something that's kind of going on in the music industry? It's like, since COVID is like throwing a brick into the window of, bad analogy, but throwing a brick into everything and shattered everything. Is that what you're talking about, as in this is a great time for go time to reorganize or, re-visualize?
I do, because, there's not as much going on. We're not having live events. So everybody's kind of looking back in and they're learning what they loved about music that made them play to begin with.
Yeah.
Not only that is they're creating these masterpieces as they're waiting to, all their energy and stuff is in themselves and in creating, their passion. So I think that a lot of good is going to come out of this.
Yeah.
I really think that it is, the whole industry is just trying to figure out a way to, because music's kind of fell behind right now. I mean, they've lost millions and billions, and artists just aren't getting the royalties like they used to be because, they're it's kind of one of those feed the belly of the beast kind of things.
Yeah.
And I think that it does need revamped, and I think that we're going to have to pull on other platforms to make that happen. And I think that, the gaming systems, that, the gaming networks and stuff is going to be one that plays into it. I think that Bitcoin may possibly come into it.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's really interesting. So like, for like the music industry as a whole, where do you see like the indie artist? Where does that kind of play into what you were saying about, trying to work with the industry locally and reimagine or something? How does that fit in? I mean, do you mainly just work with, indie artists, or do you work with?
I work with anybody, and I haven't started the business yet, but a lot of people know that I am working towards this. And my thing is I want to do something that hasn't been done here yet, and I want to recreate that magic that once made it become what it was. So, and how do I do that? I'm not really sure, other than, going after what I feel and what I think, in my vision is what should be done. And sometimes I don't know that until, the moment of.
Yeah. You mentioned magic. I don't know much about the history. I mean, I know a couple guys that do a lot. Well, a few guys. I mean, we both know a guy that is, he's the history guru around here.
George Laird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what, based on like a historical, from a historical perspective, what was that magic that made the Shoals famous?
I think it was the quietness of a small town
Mm-hmm.
that nobody thought had that soul in them. I think a lot of our soul comes out of that river. I think that, I think that Muscle Shoals is a special place. I think that it's kind of, I don't want to say this without sounding kind of strange, but I feel like it's a portal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of magic here that is untapped. And if people would tap into it and understand the, the intuition and stuff that they're receiving, or if they would tap into it, that there could be a lot. I mean, we've had tons of talent come out of the Shoals.
Oh yeah, totally.
Not only did we help create some of, the world's greatest music right here in Muscle Shoals and record it and write the music for it and play the, horns or the instruments for it, and create that sound. We also, we've had a lot of talent just birthed from here.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about, let's see, I went to, and I'm not putting it, let's see, how can I say this without putting things out there? But I went to a concert here in Florence, and it was for this big thing that was kind of going on. And they were talking about Muscle Shoals, is coming back, this, that, and the other. But then I went and I listened, and all the music sounded like Nashville.
Yeah, do you? People would be surprised, but we actually we were the ones feeding Nashville. Nashville wouldn't be Nashville if it wasn't for Muscle Shoals, and a lot of people don't understand that don't know the history. And you would be surprised at the people in our communities, in our areas, that don't know the history of our area, or even know that we have so much music here. I mean, my kids, I try to educate them all the time, but you know, if I didn't, they wouldn't know because the community is not behind the music like I think the rest of the musicians here would like to be.
Okay.
And I don't understand that. They've always tried to, the community here seems to always try to pull for, you know, factories or you know, getting some big plant here. And if they would get behind the economics of what their heritage was from, I think that we can actually build on our heritage and have all of those things. But we've got to get behind the heritage and what we're known for first.
I got you there. That makes sense. I spent a lot of time at one of the local studios here lately, and the same studio I'll be recording my album. But at this iconic place, there are like, I mean, downstairs, there are like just on the walls, just covered with, you know, records, vinyl records. Mm-hmm. And all of those people had recorded at that place.
Is it Fame? Is that?
No, I'm not going to name drop. But
we've got so many studios.
Yes,
here.
I know.
And there's so many historic studios. It's amazing.
Yeah, but the Swampers are, well, you know, David.
Yeah, David Hood. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So this is, yeah. Anyway, people who are from here know. I don't want to name drop. But, yeah. But a lot of that music on there, of course, there's, I think I'd seen and people listening, they were like, oh, man, that's not right. Blah, blah, blah. But I remember seeing a lot of artists on those vinyl covers that are not the sound of music that you hear typically here in the Shoals, or that isn't given exposure, I should say, maybe.
Right.
Why do you think that is? And does that play into your conviction of what you know, what your mime is? What, you know?
Say that again so I can follow your question a little better, because I started going somewhere and then I went somewhere else.
I got you. Well, I was curious. Like some of those artists and some of the vinyl, you know, covers that were
done back
in the basement of that studio, a lot of those artists, you know, that sound, you don't hear that or isn't represented in Muscle Shoals. I know, like Midnighters, they play soul based,
right.
But for those, you know, that soul feeling, that soul sound, you don't. You associate it as in this is something that's, you know, that was in the history of Muscle Shoals, but you don't hear that today. You hear about things that sound more like.
I do, and
Okay.
I do, and I think it depends on the studio.
Okay.
And I think it depends on the type of music, but I have seen the revivalists come in, for instance, and record at Fame, and you hear those horns, and you can hear the Muscle Shoals in it.
Wow.
I've seen Foy, is it Foy Vance, I believe, and then you can hear in his music, you can hear the Shoals blues. I mean,
interesting.
It's a different kind of sound, and I do hear it. And no, you're not going to hear it quite as much in something like punk or you know, something that's, you know, totally, because music changes, and you know, we're not playing the same things that we did back in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
I mean, we don't have, you know, the Allman Brothers or anything anymore, and I mean that's just how, you know, music, it evolves and grows. But I do hear that, and a lot of the music that I hear that has that are touched by some of the local legend or icons, you know, like David Hood or Spooner Oldham. I mean, they still have their touch on it, and you can hear it, and it's beautiful. But Muscle Shoals does have a distinct sound that you can.
Well, I stand corrected. Maybe I'm just a critic. Maybe.
Well, I think everybody is entitled to their opinions, but in my opinion, I still hear it. And when I hear a song that was recorded here, I can hear the home in it.
Wow, I need to listen to more music, I guess. Yeah, that was
especially the horns, the Muscle Shoals. Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, I've heard so many things.
Harvey Thompson, he's amazing.
One of the things that I thought was interesting, I had been to this one studio. It's called, as you know, Muscle Shoals Sound, and it was interesting seeing, like, it's a museum now, and just going there and seeing the
toilet seat.
well, I mean, it's like there's pictures of all these famous people,
Right.
specifically Leonard Skinner.
Right.
I have a connection. A mentor of mine was their engineer, road engineer, and he, was also a manager, a road manager, for Leonard Skinner. And when they were in Cardiff, Wales in '75, my friend had actually recorded that performance. I have a copy of that, and he gave me a copy. He's like, "Here we have it." But anyway, and through my friend's experience with the band and the individuals in it, I learned to just really appreciate their music and what they were saying.
Right.
But it was surreal whenever I walked into the studio, the museum, and I saw the pictures of the band members and all these. I was like, dude, I had that connection, and it was like I was able to tap in. Like I had roots here, even though it was vicariously through my friend, talking about the experiences of that he went through with them.
You're still from the area too, so like you have the same river that we have here, and I think that that's a lot of it is the dirt still the same.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, and that's why I'd asked you, what was that magic?
Yeah,
because I think that I've felt maybe just by association through my friend, but.
I don't know. You're close. You're close to it, and that's I think it is. I think it's in the dirt. I think it's in the water. I think it's come here from the Indians. I think it was Indians blessed everything. They blessed the water. They blessed the trees. I think that magic comes from that. I think it's a spiritual magic that maybe can't be seen, but it can be felt.
Interesting. That's interesting. And I know that you had mentioned also that it was a small town, so there's community there. People know each other.
Very small community.
Yeah. So maybe that's part of the element about it.
It is, and it's probably you are who you associate with, and that's always been a thing for me. No matter what kind of group I'm in, whoever I kind of. Chameleon and change to who I'm surrounding myself with. And if you're surrounding yourself with musicians from here, then there you go.
There you go. Do you know there? Let's see. There are. I wonder how many types of music, is represented in this area.
Different genres.
Yeah. Are you familiar?
I'm familiar with a few of them. Of course, blues is always going to be, and of course rock, and then we have the Americana kind of country, independent like Jason Isbell or John Paul White, and then then we're starting to see a lot of pop. Almost pop, but it's like a groovy kind of electronic pop that I'm starting to see.
Wow. Now, see, that's interesting because it's like the circles I kind of run in when I'm here is more of the Americana. And I'm trying to get out of that because it's like, it's great stuff, but it's like I don't see anyone else. And I think that's probably why I'm biased. Because I only see part of the picture.
Yeah.
When it comes to Muscle Shoals and the music.
Well, I mean, you say that, but we were doing the Rolling Stones, and they're anything but Americana.
Yeah.
So, and Aretha Franklin, I would not call her Americana, nor would I Percy Sledge or Otis Redding, or I could go on and on. But I think that each individual, based on what kind of music is how people, go to. And I think that for a long time, country had kind of been the mainstream, probably back in the 90s, and I think people were more geared to like the Garth Brooks and that kind of stuff, and not so much the rock. And now the rock's come back. I think the soul and the blues are coming back. But I think it's also, I think the world is kind of trying to get away from the genres and just trying to be artists. I know like Miley Cyrus's new album, I mean, she covers anywhere from like Blondie to who else was she covering? Stevie Nicks. She's covered.
Okay, I've heard about those.
Yeah, and her album is fantastic. And you know, Miley is still Miley. You don't lose the sense of who she is, but it's like she's taking all these different kinds of music and making them her own, and it's kind of beautiful. Miley's made it. She has definitely made it. She's unbelievable.
Well,
I tell my daughter all the time. It's like, that's my spirit animal right there, Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus. Yeah, I mean, I'd listened to her on a podcast not too long ago, and I was just thinking about how much she's come to who she is.
Isn't it beautiful to see, though? Like, you see her just be herself, and it's like, that's not Hannah Montana anymore.
No. And I don't think that she really liked being there either. But
she didn't, but it took her, you know, it took all those things, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is maybe you're not where you want to be, but you have to be there, and when you're there, why not learn from it? Because when you learn from it, that's where the beauty and the magic comes in, because it transforms you, and it leads you to who you are.
Wow. Yeah. That's profound, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and it was, maybe it's completely off topic, but you know, the idea of an ant builds and builds and builds, and then something comes and destroys it. But then the ant continues on. No matter, you know, of course, it's not the same thing that they built before. It's going to be different.
Right.
But appreciating and realizing where they are and continuing on.
That's the hardest thing to do. When we've faced failure, or we faced, you know, something that's upset us, it's so hard to get back up. But once we do, and we realize, hey, you know, I've felt this way before, and I can do this again, and you know, and they may change what they've done, you know, or we may change something to get us over that hump that we couldn't see before. A lot of it is just, you know, perception. You know, you see a problem or you see a solution.
Wow.
And, you know, if you choose to see a problem, you're going to see a problem. But if you choose to find a solution, you're going to find a solution.
Wow. All about mindset, I guess, huh?
It is.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. You know, the different mindset that I have now versus 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, being an entrepreneur and doing the music thing and trying to figure out, you know, what I want.
Well, I love you doing this. I was excited. I was like, yes,
I'm so glad
I can so see this.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm in my element. I love it. And I think it's a great combination that I have with having the construction company and then doing this, because it's like it funds completely this, and then I'm able to completely give of myself to people that listen and consume what I am putting out there.
Right. And that's kind of how I'm working 2 jobs right now, going to school and then building this business. So like, and you know, I don't want to work these jobs. They're not my passion, but I realize that I have to have funds in order to build my dream.
Yes.
And I'm building my dream. Nobody's going to tell me no. Like I've done made up my mind, like it's going to happen, and it might not happen the way I want it to the first time, but it's going to happen, and I'm not going to give up.
Wow. So what are you going to school for? I think you had hovered over that earlier, but
I'm taking the Clive Davis Institute of Recorded Music, and it's just going to help me create my booking agency, and hopefully once booking agency artist development, eventually become a publisher and possibly a label.
Nice.
I mean, I've got big dreams, but right now we're just going to start with the booking agent and the social media promotions, you know, and stuff like that.
And you said you do like Patreon, you build those pages?
I'm actually working on building mine now. That's been a learning curve. A lot of these new platforms are like, you know, TikTok, and I feel like I'm old. I'm having to learn these things, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should be younger and try to done this. But no, I mean, somebody's got to learn so that we can, you know, teach other people how to build theirs. And I really like the idea of having a Patreon, because it gives you control to have multiple income streams, you know, coming in.
Oh, your mic's moving on you.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Yeah, these mics.
They twist.
Yeah, they do. I think it's your. I think it's. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we know?
If you can torque it down and like
twerk it down.
Yeah, just like no, like you'll turn the bass, and then twist it in. No, this right here is your bass is.
I got you.
Yeah,
it's twisting.
There
okay.
it was, and you can pick it up and turn it and.
Okay, I'm good as long as it's not moving now and you can hear me. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's really cool. What started you down the path of wanting to promote? I mean, be more support versus someone in the limelight.
Right. I'm, a lot of people are about the limelight, and that's not who I am. I like to help people. Mm-hmm. I've always been a helper. I've always been, that person that wanted to see other people succeed, not necessarily myself. If I get to be part of that, that's great. But, my passion is really making other people feel good, mm-hmm. and as a healer, first, whatever kind of healer you are, whether you are hands-on touch healer or, mm-hmm. And my job's always been to me, my gift from, the powers that be, have my gift is visionary, and I've always been able to have that inner knowing of what I see for things or can foresee. Uh-huh. And I knew that music has always kind of followed me around, and when it followed me, it was like, okay, I can't put this down yet because there's a reason it's still here. But to me, I don't care anything about the limelight. I care about helping other people. I care about preserving our heritage. I care about our young kids not leaving and going off somewhere else to live because we have nothing here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I see that a lot. I see these young musicians, especially in their 20s, and they're like, there's nothing here for me. I might as well go to Nashville. Well, Nashville don't want you. So, Nashville's saying, no, we don't need any, and it's just sad that we don't have that here for our young ones. And that's why, a lot of these older, iconic, mentors are mentoring these young musicians and stuff and showing them the things they know and stuff so that we can have this to pass on and we can build from it. The economics has never been built around music here. It's been a little kept secret. Most of us here know it, and it's funny, you go outside of here and you tell somebody you're from Muscle Shoals, and they're like, oh, wow. Especially, if they're in music, they're like, oh, wow, Muscle Shoals, that's amazing. And they get here and they see that it's just a little bitty town.
Yep. You got to really dig to, discover.
But there's a lot of beauty here, even in the studios. You'll see it's pretty neat. And our area here, we live in a beautiful area. Yes. We should really be grateful for what we do have.
Mm-hmm. Every time I cross the bridge, either way, I'm just like, man, I love this place. Mm-hmm. I love it.
And even though we're not a big music city, we're a music city, and we still have the art. There's a lot of art here. Mm-hmm. There's a whole culture of art. It's got its own little culture.
Yeah, there are like many like visual artists. I had heard that there's a area like probably Sheffield area that it's just like artists live there or something. I can't remember what someone had told me about it, but it was like just a community of just artists. I don't know what else to say. I was hoping you'd have something.
I'm not sure unless you're talking about 7 Points artist group, maybe.
Maybe? I don't know.
7 Points is kind of an artisty community. The only thing with 7 Points area is I think that it's kind of a depression area.
Okay.
And I think that building more towards the water and the river, which is where, to me, the magic is. We had Bob Dylan writing songs on McFarland Riverbanks, Sean Lennon. There's been, Cher come here, and there's been so many people just benefit from being out there on the water and stuff. Wow. I think that's where the magic is.
Wow. That's interesting.
So I think building art towards that, can't lose.
Can't lose. All right. So how about like, let's see, during this COVID thing, how was it coming into that for you? Like, what is it?
It's been scary. I think it's scary for everybody. Some people might feel like they have an idea of what's going on. It sometimes, I kind of felt like I knew, what was going on, and then, sometimes I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that what I have seen, that it's very real. People are getting sick, and the numbers are increasing.
Yeah.
I do want it to go away because it's
Totally.
deeply affected the music industry here.
Ugh.
And, but I also want people to be respectful of people that can get sick easily.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see that enough. I still walk into gas stations and people don't have their mask on.
Yeah.
I still, and I know they're like, well, I'm just running in and running out. But, at the same time, like, what if my grandmother was in that store you just ran in out of, and, she got sick and it killed her? I mean,
Oh, man, yeah.
So to me, like, we need to be respectful and get this thing nipped in the bud.
Mm-hmm.
And until we do, we just need to be mindful of other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, even people that have cancer and stuff, they can't get this stuff.
Yeah.
It's bad news.
Yeah. I have a friend that's, she's a nurse practitioner, and trying to get her on the show so she can talk about her profession and the things that she's experienced during this time. She actually works in the hospice, it's COVID or no COVID, she still deals with death daily, seemingly. Right. I think she said at least one person dies out of the 76 people that she's always in charge of. So, and I'm just like, dude, what?
Yeah, some people are fit for that. I tell you, that is not a job that I would want to have. I cannot handle it. I am too much. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and anything sad. If you started crying right now, I'd cry with you just because I could feel it.
Man. Oh, yeah, I couldn't imagine. And like sometimes she'll text me and she'll be like, dude, it's been such a day. It's just been nuts. She's like, I have 4 patients die on me today. And it's like she has to tell the family and stuff.
Well, and kudos to the healthcare workers. They have really been the army for this COVID. They're the front line. They have really, put themselves out there and risked their lives and their families' lives. My mom's a nurse practitioner, and she was on the front line of this, working the walk-in clinics and stuff, and she would come home and she would run the risk of getting my stepdad, who has heart problems, and and he's diabetic and stuff, and run the risk of getting him sick just to help other people. So I think that they're the real heroes here.
Yeah, totally. I was even thinking of I have a friend also that helps me on some jobs, and he's a first responder and fireman. And, like when we're on jobs, he'll have his radio and I can't remember what the code is, but there's a code for it, and for someone that has COVID. And while we were working, like, I think a few days ago,
Is it like code blue, but like code green?
Yeah, it's like something. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to that because
he knew it was coming.
Yeah, because like the paramedics, they have like their suits and their headgear, hazmat. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not equipped for that. So I thought that was interesting when you mentioned that.
Well, it scared me to death. My roommate about a week ago, he kind of got a cold, and I was looking at him like, if you even think that you start running a fever, you're going to get tested immediately, because I need to know.
Oh, man. Yeah. I remember I had gotten like I get like seasonal allergies, and like I have a headache and congestion. I was just like, I hope this isn't COVID, but it was, but I didn't. So, yeah. So
and I think a lot of people are like that. I know I was in the grocery store the other day, and this old woman coughed, and she looked around and she was like, I ain't got COVID.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, I could so see me like coughing accidentally or sneezing and being like, I'm okay, I'm clean.
Yeah. Like when I'm in places, I was just thinking because like I'll get like hairs, I guess, from breathing, because hair grows in your nose and stuff, and you breathe in and it gets lodged in your throat, and then it starts to, your body's trying to get it out. And I was like, man, I'm gonna have to start bringing like peppermints or some sort of cough drops
to keep that tickled.
Yeah, because I was just like, and it always happens whenever you're in a crowded place, always, where you're like, oh my gosh, and then you got to go out or something, and it's even worse when you can't leave. But it's
choked
been
on water or something like that. Yeah,
like I almost choked, I almost died, not from COVID, by the way,
but from a panic attack from me me accidentally coughing.
Yes, everybody look at you like you better get out of here.
But there are some preventative measures that we can do to like ensure our health, and I take a lot of vitamin D and vitamin C, and then also zinc. Zinc is one that is, so like every day I take my daily dose and I make sure that those 3 things are in my body.
Yeah.
If I don't take any other vitamins, I've got those 3 things in.
Yeah, I totally do that. And I take the zinc lozenge because they were out of zinc with the GNC here in town. But I take the zinc lozenge and I do the D3, vitamin D3, and then I do also the vitamin C.
Right.
Big old horse tablet. And then I do on top of that like a GNC recommended
daily.
Yeah, multivitamin, not trying to, put GNC out there like, oh yeah. But that's where I was, and I just got everything out there. And then I do like an ashwagandha as well. I took ashwagandha.
Yeah.
So, because here recently I've been dealing with like some issues with like trying to figure out my weight situation because I exercise, do all these things, all these things that were healthy. And I wasn't doing well on managing my weight. So I was reading one of these articles, and it was talking about cortisol levels. And they were actually one of my customers. She was like, "Are you taking ashwagandha?" Because she told me about ashwagandha, and she's like, and her husband was making fun of it because every time I come over, she's like, "This is what you need to take for this. What are the symptoms for this?" And she was, all these different things. But ashwagandha is one I started taking, and there's another one that's also supplement of herbs that is for lowering cortisol, which if you do that, of course, by lowering your anxiety, your testosterone goes up, and then your metabolism starts to boom,
there's
boom, boom.
I think there's something called is it lion's mane?
Yep. I don't take that, but
and then there's a 5-HTP, I believe.
Okay.
I do take some of that, and it's mixed in with something else, but I also do a lot of collagen too because it's great for rejuvenation, so that I'm not aging so fast.
Okay. Is that also what's in between, like, bones? No, I'm thinking of something else.
I don't even know. It might. Yeah, I think it is.
Really,
I think
collagen?
that. And, this is something people don't realize, that everything we put in our mouth and absorb in our bodies, it goes to every single cell in our bodies. So gut health is really important. And, you kind of are what you eat.
Yeah.
So we have to really watch those kind of things. And you see, I'm drinking a peach tea with all this sugar in it that is not good. I don't want to call it out, but and declare it and make it happen, but I run the risk for diabetes because of all the sugar intake. And like I said, we are what we eat.
Yeah, totally. I had been, I don't know, for some reason during the winter I go on these weird kicks because I think it's because of the fact that there's more time. Well, I don't have a lot of time.
To me, it's the food is better.
Yes, it is. I guess it's because we have to slow down, and then we, appreciate it, even more.
And to me, it's like, okay, that's my cheat time. Like I get to eat this because it's this time of year, and this is just what we do. It's tradition.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially for like what is that? Not nutmeg, but
eggnog.
Eggnog.
Yeah.
Always associate. Does eggnog have nutmeg in it? I think it does.
I think that's the little spicy.
Yeah, and I always called it nutmeg. I was just like, they're like, what? I was like, isn't that a spice? It's like, I don't know.
Eggnog is good, and I actually have not had any. I hope that I get to have some at least Christmas Day for sure.
Yeah, I like their eggnog that has alcohol in it.
Yeah, the spike. Yeah, it's pretty really good.
Pretty good. Yeah. But
apple cider is good too.
Yes. We had a Christmas party with my church a few days ago. So it was interesting having some of that. One of the things also I was curious about was, let's see, like concerning the music thing, where do you see yourself, maybe in the spring, all right, with the music?
I see myself very busy. I see myself learning. I'll be on a learning curve because I'll be head first into this. I'm already going to be a booking agent for one of the venues that's come out in Sheffield, live from Nashville Avenue with Bless Your Heart Studios.
Bless Your Heart Studios. Okay.
That's so I'm the booking agent for it, and I've been told already that by spring we'd like to have 3 to 4 acts a week, and then it's a TV show as well.
Wow.
So we're talking about having a box office. I do know that I think with COVID, I think we're going to have to be very COVID prepared, and that means COVID stations, possibly pre-selling tickets. But with pre-selling tickets, there's also some VIP kind of amenities or whatever that can be thrown in. I think right now, until the vaccinations come out and people and the numbers start decreasing, that there's going to be a lot of anxiety-driven people with bigger events, and I think we have to be more careful because of those bigger events. I think that where say a place occupies 100 people, that we're going to have to cut that back to 50. And I think there's going to be a lot of extra maybe head scans for temperatures and stuff like that are going to have to be done.
Wow. Now, is that technology available to just any specific person or entity, for like rapid testing?
I don't know about rapid testing for anybody, but I do know thermometer scans and stuff like that can be done. I think that there's sanitized stations that, you can run your phone. I think those things, will be available. But I think anybody that's sick doesn't definitely, even with a cold, doesn't need to even go and be around people right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember reading something about that the new that the flu season is going to make everything just weird. Because oh man, you hear some, and I'm not paranoid or anything like that about COVID. I am very careful. I always have this around my neck, always, and but it's just like when I I don't know where I was going with that. Okay.
What I was going to say is there's actually some good things that's been coming that I can see coming out of this is the way we do venues, the way we do events is going to completely change. It may be at a neater, cooler place. Like, for instance, Jason Isbell, he played at Caves. We've got 3 caves in Huntsville that would be an amazing, venue to play at. I couldn't imagine what that would sound like.
Wow.
So I think that it's going to get more creative in those aspects, that your venues are going to be different. And I think that trying to actually be able to get to that artist is going to be a lot harder. So it's just going to celebritize that artist even more, because you're going to sell out of these venues quicker, and then you're not, you're going to have these packages. And these packages may include, instead of meet and greets at the, maybe you're getting a Zoom conversation with your favorite artist,
Wow.
So I think there's going to be, a different way of doing things.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that playing into the celebrity and making it more exclusive.
Now, if we could fix the royalties, and I think that there's a lot of pressure on that right now for the industry, is to increase the royalty amounts for some of these payouts, like for Spotify, and I agree that the pay rate needs to go up.
Yeah, I remember I looked at my my reports for the sales that I'd made. And I was just like, oh my goodness, there's I can't remember how many within this time frame, 1,000 something, downloads and stuff like that. And I was like, $10. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, $10. I think it's $10. I can't remember.
And artists are going to have to make that money. I mean,
Yeah.
because they're paying out other people too, and that's the thing is like
Yeah.
a lot of times, they borrow that money, and by the time they get that money back, there's not much money left to pay anything else, and not even their bills sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's totally.
But I do think that sometimes we get lost in the royalties and who's attached to that. Say somebody did somebody's hair for a video. I mean, those things kind of get left sometimes. And I think that something like Bitcoin, where it tracks where that money's been, is a way to actually hold what has touched it accountable and show where it's been and a way to keep track of it.
Yeah.
So I do think that I can see Bitcoin kind of playing a role in it. So it'll be a learning curve, especially for this area, though.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. Yeah. So do you work with the stock market any, or do you?
I do. I like to do Bitcoin. I actually went to D.C. About 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. At a Bitcoin conference and learned a lot.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, it's still hard, and it's still, kind of hard to understand. And it's a little bit like stock, but it's not a lot like stock. And there's so many different entities out here trying to do different things. And, with each token, it does something different. But what I really liked is the fact that it was feeding the nonprofits. They were all trying. It seems like every coin that was coming out, it had some kind of nonprofit attached to it that was trying to help out. And that's really good because that kind of keeps the middlemen out of the funds and it goes straight to the purpose.
That's very interesting. Mm-hmm. Huh. I don't know much about the mechanisms of, that Bitcoin or anything. But
I would like to know a lot more, but I'm slowly learning because I see the need for it.
Yeah. I've been, I had recently, not recently, I had signed up with Robinhood, and I trade on there with actual stocks and stuff like that. I've been looking at different ones like mutual funds and things like that. But
right now the stock market's so scary, and I do believe in a secondary, income or maybe even a trade, a barter system kind of thing, because I think that relying on one is not enough.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's wise to have multiple streams.
Yes.
And I think that's what you said that you wanted to have, 9?
Yes. If I can have 9 streams of income coming in, that will make me feel secure. I mean, there's a lot I want to do out here, and it's not just help our area. I mean, that's just one of the things, that I do want to do. And eventually I do kind of want to be selfish and I want to travel around, but while I'm traveling around, if I can help, then that's what I'm going to do. I mean, to me, that's what I was created to do, is to help other people. So, yeah.
Wow. So that's your mime.
Yeah.
Yes. The long version.
Yeah. The very long version.
That's really awesome. Let's see. One of the things I was into lately was getting into like some TV watching. Every now and then I have some time. Well, not TV. I don't have TV, but like I have, Amazon Prime. I've got Netflix, of course. But one of the shows that I'm really into and I can really get absorbed into is it's called, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a show on it's Amazon Prime, and it's like a science fiction. I think Expanse or something like that. And do you like science fiction? Do you like that type of thing, or do you?
I'm a big science nerd, actually. I'm more into like geology, archaeology. I like the history of like where we're like, the Indians and where we're from, where we originated. But yeah, I'm a big science geek. Right. I like space too. Okay.
But not necessarily on the fiction side, but just like factual.
I like the factual stuff. I am a truth seeker. So, if I had to go back to school and do anything, I think I would have probably went into geology or archaeology or something like that, because I want to travel too. And to me, doing things like that, it's just, I mean, I can't look at the ground without picking up a rock. It's kind of silly. People will see me all the time, and I'm just looking at the ground and I'm picking up regular, everyday rocks, not like the opals or, you know, the amethyst or anything like that. I'm picking up like sandstone and limestone, and I'm like looking, you know, at them, and I'm like, oh, the minerals in this, and people are like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, I'm that weird girl.
Well, that's interesting. I remember when I was a kid, we would like every Saturday, like go for walks, and we would go like on our property, and we would always like go in the creek bed and everything. And I always had this ability to pick up these. I think they're called trilobites, but no. I think I don't know. But they're, I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's cylindrical. Mm-hmm. It's a rock, I guess. And they could be from that, you know, really small to really...
Is it a fossil?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And it's... So I don't know what they are, but I always had this ability to, you know, find them and, you know... but I've always, you know, enjoyed going out, you know, in nature and...
Doesn't it make you feel better to go out and do stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking the other day, because I try to make it a, you know, something I do every day to, you know, walk first thing in the morning. And I remember thinking the other day, I was just like, it's completely useless to think about anything else but where I am right now. I mean,
to me, it's kind of like my church. It's my close to God. It gives me a chance to clear my head. And I don't know if you've heard of grounding. Have you heard of the earthing? You know, taking your bare feet and walking on the ground. Like,
I've heard of that. Okay.
It actually helps reduce inflammation, and it can help things even like dementia,
Interesting,
Alzheimer's, anxiety, and it basically resets your chakras. So that, you know, you're kind of back on it. Because we get so wound up, and, you know, we wear tennis shoes a lot. And people don't realize that when you wear tennis shoes everywhere and you're not grounding yourself.
That's interesting.
You know, maybe that's a little bit of what's wrong with this world.
Yeah.
Is that we're not grounded anymore because tennis shoes were created and nobody walks on the bare ground.
Wow. It makes sense, because I remember hearing that that when a baby is a baby, that they have to have that contact with the mother for their mental development.
Right.
So it would make sense to me that
humans need that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For, you know, in terms of, I guess, being in consideration of the world we live in, and how we treat it and how we treat, I guess, each other maybe. I don't know.
Absolutely. I think it all feeds into each other. And I think that, you know, if we look at it, you know, we are those trees. We are the air. We're energy, just
Carbon
like
based.
that is. Yes. And, you know, we are the stars. And I think that being in touch with that and not something man-made, and I think that we've developed a world that we don't have to be in touch with nature and stuff anymore, and I think that's a big problem.
Yeah.
I think that we need to get outside and we need to spend a little more time there. You know, universal sound. I mean, it's what people, I guess you musicians, you know, y'all kind of tune your music to, or your guitars to, somewhere around the 432 hertz or whatever. I think it's like, what, 435 or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's universal sounds 432, and I think most people do like 435 or something.
Okay, like the hertz frequency.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's interesting. What do you think about like frequencies? I've seen some stuff about like healing frequencies or different.
Totally believe it.
Really?
Yeah, I've gotten Reiki, and it was amazing. I never thought that somebody could push energy. I had some toxic energy inside me, and it was giving me some chest pain, and she actually got it out of me without even touching me, and I felt it release from me, and it was amazing. But
wow.
Yes, I totally believe in frequencies. I believe that some people vibrate at a different frequency than other people, and I think that, you know, sometimes that energy is toxic, and you know, and I think that if you feel like it's not good for you, it's not healthy for you, that you immediately need to get away from it. I haven't always listened to that, and I've stayed in toxic, things before, and really needed to get out of it. And it's not till, I become aware and conscious of those things that, I've been able to help myself. But now I don't want to around anything that's not healthy for me.
Wow. That's really interesting. And so it kind of like brings a little more, I guess, meaning to the opposites, or when opposites attract, or what does it say? I'm butchering this. Or maybe I should say birds of a feather. I was just thinking about what you were saying.
Well, yeah, you are who you hang out with, and you are, if you're vibrating at a certain, frequency, you're putting that out. Not only are you taking that frequency in, but you're also outputting. So people don't watch their energy. If they're angry and upset, the person beside them may not be, but they're producing that. So like, even if I'm not in a good place, I try to get away from people because I don't want to put that on them.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I was trying to figure out, I sorted in my mind what I was trying to say. I had recently looked into, well, not recently, but I had read this article. It was talking about bumblebees and talking about frequency. And it said that bumblebees, like if you're nature watching and you see a bumblebee go to this flower, but then, after he's, it's, done its thing, whatever it's doing, then it'll go near one and then pass on. They're like, well, one of the reasons is that the flower is either positively or negatively charged. And whenever the bumblebee comes to it, it changes its charge.
Oh.
So a bumblebee can pass by it or come close to it and know that it's been pollinated or not based on
the energy.
Its its energy that it's giving off, positive or negative charge. I don't know which one.
And a bumblebee, you get to thinking about it, and a bumblebee's brain is probably so tiny. Like, how do they even know? But they do. I mean,
they're a machine.
Yeah. And so we are a machine, but we've been programmed, and we've got to kind of deprogram ourselves from all these programs that were written, and try to figure out who we are, not who they say we are, because we're the ones that create our story, and not so much the program does. Truly.
And I know that this in this age of the COVID, I've had plenty of opportunity to do that.
Yes.
So,
and I think I think a lot of people are starting to become more conscious and wake up and realize that certain things aren't as they appear, and that there is some magic here to who we are. I mean, it's a miracle that we're sitting here talking and breathing right now.
Yeah.
Every breath that we get is precious, and it matters what we do with our life.
It does. It surely does. All right. Well, I
think we touched on a lot.
Yeah, I think we did. I was trying to think of something else to I guess pull out the bag.
Can I ask you something?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I want to hear all about this journey you're on and how you got started doing this.
With the podcast, or
yeah, I like it.
Well, I definitely love it. I during the, I guess, quarantine, the early stages of it, started listening to this guy, and his name is Joe Rogan.
Absolutely.
I don't want to name drop. I don't even know him. I don't know him personally, but I was really intrigued at just the way that he had the format of his show. It was just like, of course, he's got his advertisements and stuff that he reads and stuff, but it's like he's able to connect with people. He's able to be candid. It's not edited, and it's video, so you can see facial expressions and things like that.
Yeah.
And that really intrigued me, because it's like, I want to be able to connect with people. I want to be able to, sit down and talk.
Because people have stories to tell.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's been through different things, and those stories need to be told.
Yeah, and I had a inspiration to do that. I didn't know how I was going to start. I didn't know what I was going to call it. And this is just maybe 3 or 4 months ago when I decided this is what's going to happen.
Well, I'm proud of you. I am.
I mean, like with the music, it's one thing. Just released not too long ago, a new single. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's 2 minutes to get to know me. I mean, 2.5, 3 minutes to get to know me. That's ridiculous.
It gives people a different avenue of you, a different side of you. Yeah. And I think that's needed. I think sometimes personality doesn't come out enough sometimes in people. And this is maybe how you get your personality out. And it makes you multi-diversible. I mean, I mean, just like the conversations I've had, by doing this is just mind-blowing. And they're just diverse, so diverse. I mean, speaking with you is so much different than with everyone. And I think this is opportunity for me to be able to really appreciate the individualism of each individual. Absolutely.
And value them for being the only version of themselves.
Absolutely.
Ever. So
it's inspiring when you see other people, and especially like you, living and going forward to their dreams, because I think that society has made us so afraid to take that next step, or they've pushed us and said, no, you can't do that. Yeah. That's never going to happen for you. And in fact, if you can push past that, you can fly.
Yeah, totally. I believe it. And my other goal was, I want to be able to inspire somebody else to do something, to step outside of themselves and take that journey. Mm-hmm. Even if it means them being alone, or people not getting it and making fun of them. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
It is okay. You know why? And my mom told me this, and it stuck with me. I'm like, Mom, what if I fail? And she was like, well, would you rather not do it and then always wonder what if, or would you rather do something that nobody else is doing? She's like, because honestly, most people are going to be proud of you for stepping outside and doing something that you truly believed in and going for it, when most of the people around here would be scared to death to do it. So she was right. I didn't want to have that. Well, I wish I would have done this, and I just want to do it and learn from it and grow from it, because maybe even if it ended up not being a good idea, I learned something from it that I can take and make it better.
Yeah. Wow.
And to me, you can't win without failure, because you can't learn without that failure.
Wow. That's something that it's taken me a while to accept, because when I was actually thinking about that, I think I was talking with my friend David, the difference in mindset that I've had since I've had my business is like, when I fail at something, I cry for a little while. Or when I face rejection, I cry. Yeah. Of course.
We're so worried about what other people think.
Yeah. Yeah. But then after that, I just get up and I'm like, all right, well, I just revisit my vision. What's my goal? What's my vision? What's my, and I eventually am able to get back into the saddle and start riding again. It's not what it was before, but the appreciation for the ability to get up after I've fallen hard.
Do you love yourself? Because to me, that's what I have to do. I'd be like, you know what? That might not have been the smartest thing to do, but at least I did it. I have to positive myself. Yeah. I have to say, you know what? It wasn't that bad. You're okay. It's, and I have to build myself up, because to me, if you don't build yourself up, you're not going to have other people that build you up. So if you don't love yourself,
totally.
You can't expect other people to too. So I have to love myself a little bit after I've been wounded.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe that, and for me, that would be just kind of hide away for a little while, and just kind of
sometimes I do that too.
Yeah, reassess and maybe reinvent.
It's funny, a lot of times when I go through a little depression, I'll sleep a lot, and people, my mom or somebody, she'll be like, worried, she was, you're sleeping a lot, and I'm like, well, I'm working things out in my mind, and even though I might not be thinking about it, it's like a rest and reset for me, and I actually do come out of that a lot better after I've had that time to kind of just rest and reset.
Wow. Yeah, it's very similar to my approach to dealing with depression from whatever.
No, we talked about something one time where it's like I can't handle chaos and I can't work through the chaos. Like I get very anxiety, I just can't handle it. And then you actually work through chaos better. And that's always fascinated me is because some people can actually work through that chaos so good. And I'm just like, I want to have a meltdown.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I just, I don't know. There was a meme, I guess is what it's called, that was kind of making fun of the pandemic. But it was like on one corner of the screen, there was a guy or a bunch of people fighting, 3 people. I think there was like COVID, the rioting, and there was something politics. They were just going at each other like, and then it was like, there's a guy on the left side of it, and he was just checking his phone. It's like, okay, so I burned this many carbs today, and I was like, that's so me. I mean, everything's going nuts. And I'm like,
I can't. It's chaos to me, and I will not get anything done. I'm like, stop the voices.
Oh man. Oh, well, I understand that we all have different walks.
We do, and things that how we work through things. It's neat to see somebody have the opposite of what you are, because you can't imagine having that. And like if I had to work anything in chaos, nothing would ever be done. I would go into my little ball in a corner and hide forever.
One of the things that's interesting, speaking of working through chaos, is like my house is a mess right now, and it's like because I go through these seasons of just creativity. Mm-hmm. And
you neglect.
Yeah, and there's a path to the kitchen, there's a path to the living room, there's a path to the bathroom, and everything's like because I'm just like, I've got to get this done, and it's like I'm never home. So it's like the house is a dumping ground for whatever I need to put in there for whatever reason. And I don't like it like that, but I was just thinking about this last night. I was just like, man, it's so bad. I mean, I've got receipts for the business. I've got invoices and, things like that. They're just kind of scattered and whatnot. I know where everything is, but it's just, I don't have time, because if I pay attention to that, there are some things that I do make up, like my bed or whatever. But when it comes to other things that aren't pressing, you
let it go.
I let it go because it's a distraction for me. Because I am very, what is that? Not detail oriented. I am with that too, but well, when you have to get things done, I guess.
Yeah.
What is it? Project oriented or something like that?
Right. And you're knocking off goals and
stuff.
Yeah.
And if I give in to that, whatever I had inspiration for, I'll lose it.
Well, to me, sometimes not getting those things done take away from time that I could spend. I like to try to knock the little things off. I don't create like big goals. I try to knock little things that I can manage easily and get knocked out, and then I'll attempt something bigger. But a lot of times, the bigger, it'll end up being easy because I've already knocked off those details to it. That the bigger goal is a lot easier to manage.
Yeah.
But those chaotic and messy kind of things, they just they end up hurting me worse sometimes if I don't go ahead and make time for those things.
Yeah, it hurts me whenever I want to do some. I'm in the mood for like making a video or something.
And you're like, dang, I got 20 minutes to clean this up.
It's nuts. Yeah, because I was doing for a little while some live performing on Facebook, and
I don't see how you guys do that, because I'm such a goofball. I will mess up. Like, I hate doing things live. I'm like, no, we gotta practice this. I gotta have some like bullet points or something to look at, because I'm a dork and I will mess it up. I promise you.
Did you have bullet points for today?
No, I did not, but I did rehearse a little bit and kind of thought about what I was going to say. I have to. It's like the OCD in me. Like I've got to feel like I have put forth an effort to, to think about what I don't want to come up here and just feel like I'm just talking out my, butt.
Yeah. Well, I think you did really, really well. I mean, it
Thank
was
you.
really natural, I'd say. I mean, it's the Kara I know.
Yay.
So, well, hey, I think that's a great place to end things. Hey, do you have any online, like, social media stuff you want people to know who you are and where you are?
Yes. Right now, the booking agency that I'm opening up is For Your Entertainment. I'm creating a Facebook page for it and Instagram and a Patreon. I'm looking to launch out this spring. And we're also doing artist development and social media promotions. So
okay.
And like I said, this spring I'll be good to go. So
cool. Well, I can't wait to talk with you again in the spring. Right?
Absolutely.
That'll be great. So until the next time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah. And until the next time, be safe, be happy, enjoy life.
Absolutely.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for joining me on this episode of Meet the Mimes. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I did. Heads up on upcoming content and look out for video of each one of these talks on Meet the Mimes YouTube. Well, that's it for now. Stay interesting.